Coming off an absolutely amazing rivalry game against the Atlanta Falcons, it was as you want a rivalry game to be, a whole lot and back and forth. Do have to shout out Adam Thielen, had a fantastic game. Even though he got some reps cut, we saw some great plays all around, but Adam Thielen not only had a great catch in the corner of the end zone, but he had the overtime winner as we would walk it off 37-31. And that leaves us here in week 16. We have 3 more weeks until we get to our first offseason, which will be on Friday. So definitely don't miss that one, as it's going to be a whole lot of reshaping of this team. But we are 4-10, winning 3 of 4 games since Steve Smith Sr. came in as the interim head coach. And I would say he's well on his way of taking over that just head coach for the future role. Now, we did throw a little bit of a kink potentially in the plans here for the NFC South with us defeating the Falcons. They are now 8-6, same as the Saints. So who knows who's going to actually end up winning this division? We're definitely not. We are 4-10. At best, we could finish 7-10. And we don't have a first round pick, so where we end up finishing doesn't really matter. But we want to see some good play. We want to see some further development for some of our young guys, and hopefully we'll see that today against the 7-7 Green Bay Packers. They are surprisingly actually a fairly decent team for just being 500. They have the 8th ranked offense in terms of points per game, 11th in passing yards per game, and 10th in rushing yards per game. Defense, they give up a lot of points. They're 24th in the league there, but they have the 6th best pass defense and 17th best run defense. So for the most part, they're a slightly better than average team, though their record is very much average. Gonna see what we do against them. We come in with a really good running game or passing game. Kind of depends on which way we end up really using Chuba Hubbard. Defense has been looking pretty good as well. A lot of plays being made by the linebackers, and hopefully we're about to see a good bit more. Get this week 16 game underway. As the boot is through, Smith-Marset back to return. He will take the kneel down in the end zone. We'll start at the 25 with this offense who's looked really good under Steve Smith Sr. And in general, it's really been a coming out party, not only for Young, who's played a whole lot better under Smith, but very much so for Chuba Hubbard as he breaks to the outside, nearly getting the edge, but does pick up a gain of 12 on play 1. We've really focused on getting his play to the edges and letting him go to work in open space. And when we've seen that happen, things have gone well. Where we haven't things gone well is when pass rush arrives right down the middle. That time it was just a one-on-one with a center, and Brucker's got the better of him. Leaves us with 2nd and 13 as we stick with the same heavy look. We're going to roll to one side, everything covered pretty well. Try to pick up some blocks as Young does pick up a decent chunk, about 10 yards, leaving 3rd and 3. We try to keep his scrambling mostly to a minimum, but when we need it, he's been pretty good for us. As they send the extra man, we get it to the outside. It's Tommy Tremble turning up down the sideline, picked up a good block from Chuba Hubbard, and we're down to the 28. The short, quick passing game has worked very well for this team, and we're definitely going to focus on that as we go throughout this series, as we're needing to roll and throw away as we got the rusher off the left-hand side. And for the most part, this offensive line is a work in progress, though that left side should be our best part going forward with the young left tackle in Okwanu, who just demolished Decleated. Let's say that was 25 there, a huge block. Definitely want to see a lot more of that, but interestingly here, they line Kenny Clark over on the outside. That's also right where we're running, so we need some good blocks, and Blackshear is not going to get it. 4th and 1. Walker did well there to shed the block, get the stop, but 4th and 1, we're going for it. It's a heavy set for both sides. We got a lead blocker here at fullback in Sullivan, who did score last week and helped edge out the first down here with a gain of 2. And we've definitely had to play aggressive these last few weeks, but it's really panned out well for us as we're going to try to go the play action here. Hayden Hurst going on a post route here. And it's wide open, but the throw is not very good. That should have been an easy touchdown, but almost an interception for Jair Alexander. Really not sure at all what Young was doing there. Should have been more of a bullet pass, just keep Hurst where he was. Instead, now we got a 2nd and 10. Motion out Sullivan, going with a toss to the outside, but we do not get the blocks. Leaves 3rd and long. So definitely seeing a little bit of some mixed play already this first drive. Some really good, some not so much. So we have a couple deeper options rolling to the right-hand side. We did have some. It's going to have to turn into a scramble, pick up the blocks, and Young is close, and they give it to us. Just once again edging out that first down on 3rd and 13. We pick up 13. Nearly was a touchdown, but Alexander did a good job to get that tackle. Leaves 1st and goal, though, at the 6. As we stick with a spread look here, Hubbard down the middle picks up one, bounces off of Walker, and is in. We capitalize off of our first drive, making some big plays along the way. And what is arguably even more impressive is that drive did not rely on Chuba Hubbard, mostly Young. So a great drive from our young quarterback, as the Packers have their young quarterback of their own here in Jordan Love, who dials up a big one. But the big hit definitely knocks that one away. I want to say that one intended for Romeo Doubs. Now that connection might sound familiar to you guys if you were watching the Southwest States Only Challenge, which unfortunately came to an end on Saturday as they pick up 7. Jordan Love played a truly horrific game, 4 awful interceptions in the wild card round. So hopefully we're going to see some really bad throws in this one and get some interceptions that help us out. Though clearly that doesn't happen on 3rd down, as they do pick up the 1st down. Now, I've been saying Gruger Hill for our linebacker here, who has actually played really well despite not being a very highly rated linebacker. But I did find a pronunciation guide for his time at the Eagles, and it said it's pronounced Gruger Hill. Definitely do let me know if that is correct or not, because it didn't sound or look correct to me, but I could very much be wrong. But what isn't wrong is how well he has actually played. He's only, I want to say, a 68, 69 overall, but he has made some big plays as the Packers keep doing on 3rd down. That one goes to Musgrave at tight end. Now, what really helps the defense out against Love is getting pressure on him. If we get the pressure, he typically doesn't do all too well, as Gruger Hill definitely missed the tackle in the backfield there, as Jones goes for a 1st. Now, we've seen this defense have issues up to around the 40 to 30 yard line in plus territory for the offense. So this is around the time where they start to clean things up a little bit and force field goal attempts. And as we hit the end of the first quarter, hopefully we don't see that change. They are down close to the red zone, looking to capitalize off of their first possession. Our first time out on offense obviously took up a whole lot of time, as they weren't even able to finish their first drive within 1 quarter. As they go the play action, they do get it out to their tight end in Kraft, who gets upended by Woods, leaving 3rd and inches. And it'll be a spread yet tight heavy set with a bunch to the left-hand side. Doubs low to the right-hand side. They go with a pitch to the outside. We had some guys there, and we do not get the stop. They give him a 1st down on that. I don't agree with the spotting. However, this early on in a game, not going to utilize one of the possible timeouts if we were not to get the challenge correct. As they dump that one off, it's Doubs, who fumbles. Diving on it, though, was one of the other tight ends, completing the 1st down at the 9. Could have been a big play there to force the turnover, end their drive, as they've driven pretty well up to this point. As they will throw not to the end zone, back to the outside, another short gain to the 5. It's all this extra time right now that feels like that's what's costing this defense. Love able to just sit back there and pick his guy, as they actually go opposite with Wait. It's a quick throw going to Jaden Reed as they level this one up. That was a really good drive from the Packers to match our opening drive. So we're essentially going to have to try to do the same exact thing and retake a lead here. 7-7, about 6 minutes here left in the half. Go the slant to their left-hand side. We find Mingo in a nice tight window, holds on to it, 1st down. I will say, so far in his time out there, Mingo has looked really good, and he could very well be our guy for the future on the outside. As we don't really have anywhere to go, a sacked fumble, the ball's still free. Young able to corral it, but it's a massive loss of 16. So far in this one, we haven't been able to get much pass rush, but the Packers have, and that really feels like the big difference as we find Mingo try to get the spin on Jair, but it's a big second down, makes third down a lot more manageable as we pick up 20. Now we're gonna stick with what seemingly works out well for us, the short, quick pass game, as we have a tight shotgun set here, couple drag routes. Gonna go to the left-hand side, it's Tommy Trimble picking up the first down, past Walker, bouncing off of Alexander and out at the 40. We definitely do not make it easy on our opponents. They have to have super tight coverage and be able to tackle pretty quickly. As we go with Chuba Hubbard on the screen, trying to bounce to the outside, picking up another first down as Rashawn Gary. He's going to take a knee after the play. Looks like a potential rib injury. It's going to need further evaluation. So that's at least one less pass rusher we have to worry about as we stay spread here. Marshall's route looks very intriguing depending on what that deep safety does as they actually sit. Get this one to the outside, but it is not a good throw at all from Love. Goes straight to Ford, and the Packers take over. You had Hayden Hurst wide open on the outside, but throwing on the run, it was too far to the inside. And you can definitely credit some of that to the pass rush that arrived. Despite losing their best pass rusher, they were still hitting home. As Love making a check here from the line, will be a throw. Have a couple options across the middle, but here comes Tuttle with a first sack for us. The big boy gets the big loss of 12. The best way to make up for mistakes is forcing the other team into the same mistakes. And if we're going to have problems with pass rush, we need to make sure we're getting that pass rush or really bad throws like that. That one maybe made it to the ankles of the intended receiver in Christian Watson. Clearly wasn't going to be caught, leaves 3rd and 22. Could get off the field rather quickly here, but they find their tight end right down the seam. And they pick up the easy catch first down. Bad coverage there from the linebacker. And unfortunately, that one was on Deion Jones, who has been really good for us. He's gotten caught a couple times in terms of just his athletic skill remaining. As they swing that one out wide, Jones out of bounds, past the diving DB. Leaves them with 2nd and 7. We send the extra man. Pass to the outside is knocked away. It looked well timed. However, flagged down for DPI. Definitely another one I don't agree with. We've had some bad DPI calls go against us, but it's just part of playing in the NFL nowadays. The ref is not helping out either team really, though. Typically helps out one more than the other. We'll have the 2-minute warning to get over it, recoup, and get back out here and make the plays. Packers are just outside the red zone, looking to take their first lead after doing pretty well to keep this game close. Dobbs not going to get to the outside. Big tackle there from Deion Jones, leaves 3rd and 1. And I would love for us to get some quick pressure here, something we haven't quite done yet. They actually go with the halfback screen. We read it well, forget the corner blitz, sit in coverage, force a field goal, about 1.5 minutes left. And with this, obviously, Packers would take the lead. Bagley, the kicker, right down the middle, will leave us about 1:25 and all 3 timeouts to retake or tie this game before half. And definitely a few times this year, we've been able to get some passing game going, some more medium, a little bit of some deep. Not typically what we do, but if it opens up, we'll definitely take it. As we go to the outside, it's actually a good throw to Hayden Hurst, who sprints straight out of bounds up at the 45, already a big gain, and we don't lose much time. That was just really good pocket awareness there from Young. Stepping up, didn't cross the line, but it's happened a couple times, where it definitely has cost us. As we go back out to Hayden Hurst on the run, past the 2 defenders, and we're already down to the 24 with all 3 timeouts. Hurst has definitely been an integral part of this passing game and just the consistent moving of this offense as we check this actually to a run, and it doesn't really net us much, about a yard. With us having all 3 timeouts, we could let the clock run a little bit here. We have a couple options to the outside. I actually want to shorten the route for Hurst and maybe even just change the deep route for Marshall, have that be a slant instead. As we're going to have to roll, they cut off the deep throw. Actually, we might still have it to Hurst, and it is close, and a flag is down. And they're going to call Hurst for illegal touching. Apparently that back foot out of bounds prior to trying to catch the ball. Leaves us 15 seconds, 3rd and 9. We're at least in field goal range. Go for a one-on-one back shoulder to Mingo, and he just seemingly lost track of where the ball was. Definitely not the cleanest look there, but we could at least level this one up going into halftime. As the kick is up in between the uprights, we got a 10-10 game at half, thanks to Pinheiro, and for the most part, a pretty good passing game from the offense. It obviously had its issues when we got down to the last half of the field, missed a couple opportunities, but all in all, it's a 10-10 game and essentially a brand new game going into halftime, with us knowing a little bit more about each team and how either side is going. For the most part, offense moving smooth. It's our defense we could ask a little bit more from. But as we look around the league, we have the Falcons up first here. They're currently leading the Colts 14-3 going into halftime. Colts are 6-8. And Jonathan Taylor not doing all too much in that game. As for the second, Minnesota Vikings taking on the Lions. And it is all Lions in that first half, 17-0, though the Vikings have the edge in the division. But if they lose this one, they definitely won't continue to have that. As we see over on the left-hand side, the Saints go all the way out to LA and they lose big, 31-17. So if the Falcons get the win, they will solidify their spot at the top of the division for now. As we get our second half underway, it's going to be defense out first, and hopefully we're going to see some good adjustments made at half to help clean some things up for our defense, or get extremely lucky play one that ball was just a little bit overthrown. Definitely ran a tight bunch look there, and that bunch essentially acted almost as some pick plays, kind of illegal, but kind of also works in a way. As they go across the middle, it is up and tipped away. Xavier Woods across the middle, able to break that one up. Going to Reed, who did have their one and only touchdown in that first half. Leaves them with 3rd and 10. As pass rush is hitting home, forces the throwaway. A great stand there from the defense. 3 and out to start the second half. Now as we go to start our second half offensively, we are up at the 35. Pretty good field position to get things going. So we have a little bit of some play action. Rolling to the right-hand side, there's really no one there, so Young just gonna have to try to outrun, and does outrun Walker, picking up a big gain to the opposite, 43. That's definitely one way to do it when you roll to a side of the field that has essentially no receiver help. Motioning over Hurst to the left-hand side, gonna act as a lead blocker here, trying to get Hubbard to the outside, springing to the outside with that speed, headed down the sideline. Alexander forces him out at the 8. He tried to get the hurdle, did not work, but it's a massive gain. And now they're trying to stack the middle a little bit here, shifting Blackshear in as we go wide, but hand it off down the middle. Bumps to the outside, off of one, and squeezes in between two more for the touchdown. The young running back, Raheem Blackshear, gets his first touchdown, at least since we've taken over. 3 plays, 66 yards to the house as we regain that lead, make it 17-10. As the Packers come on out, they start with a big play of their own, going Jones just right down the middle. It was completely open for him. And in a way, that kind of comes down to the fact that we, for some reason, seem to be missing one of our DTs. Might need to check an injury report, as the diving Burns does not knock that one away. And for some reason, we just don't have Derek Brown out here. He's not injured. At least nothing has been updated to us with an injury, so might need to keep an eye on that. We are missing our best defensive lineman right now. Though he does come out here in the nickel set, so I don't know, something weird might be happening with the depth chart, or he's just under a snap limit as he makes the play there on 3rd, bringing up another 4th down. Now, do the Packers go for it here? And they will opt not to. They were close to midfield. Wasn't quite sure how much pressure they were feeling after 2 failed drives, but they punted away. We start back at our 14. Starting with a run to Chuba Hubbard, trying to bounce it to the outside. He will gain only 2. And from there, we'll spread wide on here on 2nd and 8. As we bring out Blackshear, going to try to set up the halfback screen to him. We got blockers out in front who pick up 1.5 blocks. Honestly, Walker had an amazing play there. Very much should have been a bigger gain, but ended up not, leaving 3rd and 5. We got an RPO dialed up. As we will go ahead and swing this one out for Mingo. We got the lead block with Marshall, who had a big block there on Jair. We pick up the yards needed and about an extra 1 or 2. Trying to find the little ways here and there to keep Mingo involved in what is primarily an offense directed more honestly towards running backs and tight ends, at least this year with the talent we have. As we do have Mingo wide open once again, it's the deep throw downfield. We have Thielen, who does not get the block, but a huge gain for the rookie receiver, and Mingo down to the 11. It was really the speed that came in clutch there, because he definitely got bumped off the route early on, but ended up recovering, and we might go to him here depending on what that high safety does. As they shade to the inside, well, Young throws it about 10 yards out of bounds, so okay. Definitely had the back shoulder as an option, but all right. Well, 2nd and 10 instead, as they go with the draw, spinning off of 1 and picking up 3, leaves 3rd and 7. And we could still get a first down just at the 1-yard line here. As we're going to send Mingo on the slant, Thielen on the quick stop, Marshall on a late out route. We have a couple different options, but no one blocked Preston Smith off the edge. 4th and 11, we're going to have to send out the field goal unit, but it would still be a 2-score game. That being, as long as Pinheiro hits it home. Kicking out the 20, it's about a 30-yarder, as it's right down the middle. No Drummond there, it's a 10-point ball game. And so far, we've been the only one really playing the ball game in this second half, though. Knock on wood, fingers crossed we don't jinx ourselves. As they start with an RPO to the outside, Dobbs going to pick up a gain of 5 and get pushed back. He definitely seems to be Love's primary target, I would say, in this one. He really hasn't gone to Christian Watson at all today. Gone to Reed a few times. Mixed in some of the tight ends, but it's definitely been Dobbs as they go back to him. It's a first down for now, but a flag was thrown near immediately as it's an offsides. Not sure what the rookie slot corner was doing there, but he lined up offsides. Was an easy first down for him, both with the catch and the penalty. As they look to throw here, Brown in pursuit, does force the throwaway, so seems like whatever was ailing him earlier, he's recovered. Just a very weird situation that I'm probably going to chalk up to Madden being weird with depth charts as always, as it's 2nd and 10. Closing in towards the end here of the 3rd quarter, a great stop there from Gruger Hill, I'm not sure. Which, honestly, is kind of disappointing because I was really liking saying Gruger Hill. Hopefully that's just actually what it is and I can keep saying it. As they get the snap off just before the end of the 3rd, loading up to go deep, but it's an awful throw that lands about 7 yards to the sideline. And ultimately is a very disappointing 3rd quarter that I'm sure the Packers would love to forget about. But we don't want to forget about Jonathan Mingo. 4 catches today, over 100 yards. He's been phenomenal as we get the 4th quarter underway here. Open spaces for Hubbard. Once again trying to sprint to the outside as he picks up yet again another big gain. 9 rushes, 76 yards, and a tutty. So outside of some pass rush problems, our offense has looked really good today in just about anything we're trying to get going. As we're rolling to the right-hand side here, coming across and over the top of Walker, we find Mingo for a nice gain and a great throw from Young. On the move, got the height he needed and put it on the money. Potentially, this is the breakout game that we were wanting to see from Mingo, and one of the reasons that we gave him wide receiver 1 role late on. Try to see a little bit more of Marshall, and unfortunately, we really just haven't. On the move, we are going to have our tight end in Hayden Hurst sliding with the grab down to the 20. So it seems like whatever the issues were prior to Steve Smith Sr. coming in, he's fixed them, as the team has looked just red hot ever since. Chuba Hubbard fights forward there for a gain of 4. And I would even say in the few plays we've seen Blackshear step in as he does here, he's actually played pretty well as well. As we open some lanes here for him, the diving big boy from the backside. Help slow it down is Wyatt. And that'll at least bring up a 3rd down, 3rd and 3. We have Marshall to the left-hand side, potentially double coverage or some stop routes to the right-hand side. See who opens up, and it might just be a scramble here from Young, picking up the 1st down and getting down at the 8. While Young has scrambled quite a bit in this game, we've kept him pretty clean. As we have 1st and goal, Hubbard to the outside, and we will go the screen to the outside, getting 1 block, but not going to get away from Kenny Clark. He's a big boy who can move pretty quickly. Will end up just being a gain of 1, leaving 2nd and goal as we stick with the same look. Quarterback draw right down the middle. Young breaks 1 and then eats the shoulder of Walker, so forget keeping him clean. Gets up a little bit slowly after that hit, but he gets up, and that's the important thing. As we have an option to the outside here, we're definitely going to try to force that Mingo all the way to the outside. I want the slant in from Hubbard, try to draw that outside corner. See what kind of look we get, and, well, they cover it all pretty well, but we get it out to Hurst, who just didn't even try to catch it. It's another interception for Ford, but it was one that should have been caught by Hayden Hurst. So unfortunately, while it goes in the quarterback interception column, that really should go in the receiver interception column, as they go with a pass in the goal line and they throw it off the back of Jenkins. Definitely not the smartest play that Love could have done there, but ended up not costing them. As they make a check at the line here and they tight single back set. We send the blitz once again, forces the rollout, but it's a good throw to their tight end, who actually catches the ball, gets him a first down up to the 16, as they then spread wide here. It's going to be a still heavy set in terms of the personnel, and we nearly and still nearly get the interception as it's out of bounds, and also nearly get the sack. It's just a whole lot of nearlies on that play, as it also was nearly a big play if we didn't play it well on the outside. Leaves them with second and 10, as they do finally go Christian Watson. He picks up an easy first down after the defenders seemingly were diving away from him. They're running a little bit of no huddle now, as we're about 3 minutes left in this game. Swinging it to the outside. Jones gonna get the legs chopped out, but lands out of bounds to stop the clock. Now they are still down 2 scores, under 3 minutes left, but they have 3 timeouts. This needs to be their best drive of the half, as they do find their tight end, who holds on to it despite the hit from the linebacker, picking up another first down. And so far, I would say, since the first bad play, they've been steady rolling. As we're at about the 2.5-minute mark, Love, with pressure, gets it away and finds Dobbs, but it's a catch of 0 yards. Plus, the clock keeps moving. We'll see if they get the snap off here before the 2-minute warning, and they do. With a throw to the outside, too far outside for Reed. In his limited time starting, I will say the young slot corner in Boodle, again, assuming the pronunciation there, he's actually done pretty well. It's been a little bit impressive. As that throw too far to the outside, and they're not going to bring it in bounds. Good height on the jump, but it just wasn't enough. Leaves 4th and game here for the Packers. They got 3 to the left, 2 to the right-hand side. Love going deep downfield, and Henderson tips it away. It should have been a pick, but that should just about seal this one. Offense's job is just waste the last 3 timeouts and pick up at least a first down. That should do it. As we go the run to the right-hand side, stick towards the middle here. We don't need the big gain to the outside. We just need clock to roll or timeouts to roll, as they do call their first one after a gain of 1. 2nd and 9. Hard count, no one moves. Get some decent blocks to the left-hand side here, and picking up a decent little bit. Leaves 3rd and 5 as we spread wide. 1 timeout remains here for the Packers. They need the stop on this play. As we hand it off, Blackshear right down the gut, picking up the first down. Timeouts are done. And with that, we let the clock roll, hitting 0, bringing us to our 4th win in 5 games under Steve Smith Sr. It was a great performance from the offense. They stayed consistent throughout the game. Defense was a little bit inconsistent in that first half, but second half, they gave up nothing, shutting out the Packers and seeing us well on our way to a 20-10 win. And that leaves us with 2 games left, and arguably even more important than that, we are no longer bottom of the division. Since Steve Smith Sr. came in with only 1 win, we've risen to 5 and 10, surpassing the Buccaneers, who are one of our last 2 remaining games. In tomorrow's episode, we'll be against the Jaguars. On Thursday, the Buccaneers, and then Friday will be our first offseason with this team, and is going to require a whole lot of rework for the roster. As just a quick sample of things that we'll have to take care of, we have 32 players we have left to negotiate with only 56 mil in cap. And unfortunately, I think a lot of these guys we're going to be moving on from. Now, I was originally really wanting to re-sign Brian Burns and Frankie Louvu. Neither one of them have much of any interest in coming back. It's essentially just non-existent interest. But also, they have not really done anything for us since we've taken over with Steve Smith Sr. Brian Burns hasn't really recorded any solo sacks. He's gotten involved on the tail end of some. Frankie Louvo, I haven't really seen do much of anything either. Honestly, leaning more towards re-signing guys like Deion Jones over those guys because Jones, for the most part, has done pretty good work. He's going to be 29. Regression might hit him pretty hard, so we'll see. But there's just a whole lot of guys who don't have a lot of interest. So we're going to lose a lot of the depth on this team, and it's going to be a pretty big rebuild, at least for the depth, the rotation, and finding some key starters, because a lot of these guys, they're not going to be returning. Though, from that list, I would love to hear from you guys who you think we should re-sign. Like I said, I originally wanted to keep the edge rushers, just haven't seen them do much. Some of the depth we have seen some pretty good play from, like Gruger Hill or Gruj Hill. He's done pretty well. He's also on the older side. Chenault Jr. hasn't really gotten a chance to play. I feel like he could be a pretty good slot receiver for us, so we might try to re-sign him. I want to say Raheem Blackshear was also going to be a free agent, so there's some guys we might try to bring back. Interested in your opinion, do definitely let me know in the comments as we get forward towards that off season again on Friday. And make sure you don't miss how we round out these next two games. We've won all but one under Steve Smith Sr., so they've been great games. Offense is coming together. We've seen good play from the defense, and hopefully we continue to see that and build upon it. So make sure you guys hit that bell icon on the bottom right or scroll down, hit the subscription button, and definitely tip that bell icon so you're notified of when these videos go live. This series every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, with the state-only challenge every Wednesday and Saturday, which will be starting a new one on Wednesday. There should still be a poll available on the community tab if you have not voted for that series in terms of what state or group of states we use next. In that poll, the options are Michigan, Indiana, and then Maryland and Pennsylvania grouped together. So 3, which could be powerhouses, definitely do go vote. Let me know which one you guys would like to see next, as we want to make sure we start actually completing those challenges because we failed the last 3. And yes, I definitely blame Jordan Love for how the Southwest State Only Challenge ended, and at least he didn't have a great game against us. So it all ended up coming out pretty even. So we'll see you guys next time for the Jaguars game and for that new State Only Challenge on Wednesday. So until then, see you then. Bye.